Let me tell you something straight. Your mind is your biggest weapon or your worst enemy. Most people, they let it control them. But the great ones, the relentless ones, they take control. They discipline their mind like a warrior sharpens his blade every single day. Discipline is not motivation. Motivation comes and goes, it's soft. It shows up when things are easy. But discipline shows up when it's cold, when it's dark, when you're tired, when nobody's watching and every part of you wants to quit. That's when discipline says, let's go. You think David Goggins wanted to run 100 miles on broken legs? You think he enjoyed waking up at 4 a.m. to face pain head on? No, he didn't do it because he felt like it. He did it because his mind was trained, forged in discomfort, molded by suffering. Discipline. Let's talk about something most people get completely wrong, the idea that motivation is all you need. That if you just find the right podcast, the perfect Jupiter, or read the most inspiring quote, suddenly you'll be able to chase your goals and change your life. But here's the hard truth: motivation is a liar. It's unreliable, it's weak, and it disappears the second life gets hard. If you're relying on motivation, you're already setting yourself up to fail. Think about it. How many times have you felt fired up one day like, dude, I'm going to change everything, only to wake up the next morning and go back to your old ways? That's motivation. It's hype. It's sugar for the brain, gives you a rush, a high, a little spark, but then it crashes. Because motivation is emotional. It depends on your mood, your environment, how well you slept, what someone said to you that day. It's fragile. Now, discipline, that's a whole different beast. Discipline is consistent. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Discipline shows up when it's raining, when you're tired, when you're heartbroken, when the world feels like it's falling apart. Discipline says, I don't care if you're not in the mood, get it done anyway. And that right there is the mindset that separates people who achieve real, lasting greatness from the ones who just talk about it. Let me break it down. You wake up at 5 a.m. with your alarm blaring. Motivation says just 5 more minutes. You deserve it. You worked hard yesterday. Discipline says get up. You said you would. You come home after a long day, exhausted, tempted to skip the gym. Motivation says rest today, you'll go tomorrow. Discipline says you don't miss days. Go. Motivation gives you excuses. Discipline gives you results. Discipline is a decision. It's a mindset that says, my goals matter more than my feelings. It's choosing to honor your word to yourself, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching, because that's when it really counts. That's when you either build trust with yourself or break it. And let's be real, life isn't going to get easier. The world doesn't care about your excuses. Your responsibilities don't disappear just because you're tired or unmotivated. So what are you going to do? Wait until everything feels perfect? You'll be waiting forever. The successful people in this world, the ones who dominate their fields, are not the most motivated. They're the most disciplined. They do the work even when they don't feel like it. Especially when they don't feel like it. You have to become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, regardless of what your emotions are telling you. That's what real mental toughness is. That's what real freedom looks like. Because once you stop being a slave to your emotions and start acting on principle, on commitment, on self-respect, you become unstoppable. And here's the thing, discipline isn't some genetic gift. Nobody's born with it. It's built. It's trained. Like a muscle. It gets stronger every time you use it. Every time you push past the voice that says stop, you're reinforcing a new standard for yourself. Every time you choose action over comfort, you're hardening your mind, building armor, turning yourself into someone who can't be broken by circumstances. There will be days when you don't want to get out of bed. Days when the world feels heavy. Days when your progress feels invisible. That's where discipline kicks in. That's where you separate yourself from the average. Anyone can show up when it's easy. That doesn't impress me. Show me what you do when it's hard. Show me what you do when there's no applause, no external reward. That's where real character is built. People ask, how do you stay so consistent? The answer is simple. I don't negotiate with myself. The decision was made already. Discipline removes the need for debate. If it's on the schedule, it gets done. That's it. You don't need motivation when your habits are built on discipline. And over time, that discipline becomes your identity. You go from I have to do this to this is just who I am. So stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for a spark. Create your own fire. Show up every day and do the work. Be the kind of person who honors their word, especially when it's hard. Because at the end of the day, the most dangerous person is not the most talented, the most intelligent, or even the most passionate. It's the most disciplined. The one who keeps moving forward, rain or shine, emotion or no emotion. The one who decided long ago that failure isn't an option, excuses don't matter. Discipline your mind and you discipline your life. Everything changes when that clicks. Everything. Let's get one thing straight. Comfort is a killer that lulls you into mediocrity. It tells you you're doing fine when you're actually falling behind. It seduces you into thinking life is about ease, relaxation, safety, but growth, strength, true transformation. None of it lives in comfort. It all begins the moment you step into discomfort and stay there. You've got to understand that your mind has one job: to protect you, to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to stretch yourself. It doesn't want you to do hard things. It wants you on the couch, scrolling, snacking, and avoiding anything that feels like pain. That's how we're wired. But that instinct, that primal urge to avoid discomfort, is the very thing standing between you and the life you're capable of living. If you want to grow, you have to flip that wiring. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Not once in a while. Every single day. You have to lean into pain like it's your training partner. Embrace failure like it's feedback. Chase the struggle like it's a badge of honor. Because the more you face discomfort voluntarily, the less power it has over you. Think about the gym. The only way to build muscle is to break it down first. That process hurts. It's uncomfortable. You feel the burn. You push through the fatigue. But on the other side of that discomfort is strength. Your body adapts. It grows. It becomes something it wasn't before. Your mind works the exact same way. When you stretch it, challenge it, push it into unfamiliar territory, that's when it starts to evolve. But here's the truth most people won't tell you: the discomfort never goes away. You just get stronger. Your tolerance increases. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once broke you now builds you. That's how mental toughness is formed: by facing difficulty, not avoiding it. Too many people live their whole lives running from discomfort. They never chase their dreams because they're scared to fail. They stay in toxic relationships because change is hard. They avoid hard conversations, hard workouts, hard choices because they'd rather stay comfortable. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, why they're unfulfilled, why they keep waking up with that quiet voice whispering, "You're meant for more." Here's what they don't realize: every time you avoid discomfort, you feed weakness. You reinforce the idea that you're not strong enough. And over time, your mind starts believing it. Your confidence erodes, your drive fades, your potential dies quietly. But the opposite is also true. Every time you choose the hard path, even in the smallest way, you take your power back. You tell your mind, "We're in control now." You build trust with yourself. And that's how you create momentum. It can be simple. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Wake up an hour earlier. Speak up when it's uncomfortable. Push for one more rep when your body wants to stop. Say no to distractions and yes to discipline. These are small moments, but they stack up. They build grit. They harden your mind. They separate you from the average. Look, nobody is saying it's going to be ever. But that's the point. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. Because that's where all the gold is buried. That's where your true potential lies: under the pressure, the pain, the resistance. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not improving, period. You can't grow without struggle. You can't become resilient without resistance. And you sure as hell won't find greatness hiding in the warm, safe bubble of your comfort zone. Everything you want, the goals, the peace, the strength, the confidence, is on the other side of discomfort. And the only way to reach it is to go through it. There's this lie out there that life should be easy, that success should come without suffering. That's fantasy. Real life rewards the ones who endure, the ones who train their minds to stay calm under pressure, focused in chaos, relentless in adversity. Those are the people who rise. So here's the challenge: stop running from discomfort. Start seeking it. Invite it in. Make it your training ground. When something scares you, step toward it. When something is hard, do it anyway. When your mind screams for you to stop, smile, and keep going. Because in those moments, the hard ones, the painful ones, the moments people quit, you are becoming something different, something stronger, something unbreakable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, not for the pain, but for what it produces. A mind that doesn't flinch, a body that doesn't break, a soul that doesn't quit. That's where greatness lies. And if you want it, really want it, you know exactly where to find it. That's desperation. The mind is a master of creating excuses that feel logical. You've been working hard. You deserve a break. This task can wait until tomorrow. Everyone else is taking it easy. But these thoughts are traps. They disguise themselves as kindness, as compassion. But really, they're just distractions dressed up as reason. The problem is, most people listen to that voice. They follow it. They obey it. And in doing so, they let their lives be ruled by fear and limitation. But here's the truth. Just because your mind says something doesn't make it true. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it should dictate your actions. That voice in your head is a survival mechanism, not a success mechanism. It wants you to be safe, not exceptional. It wants you to avoid risk, not rise to challenges. If you let that voice run the show, you'll never leave your comfort zone. You'll never push your limits. You'll never find out what you're truly capable of. The key is to stop treating every thought like it deserves your attention. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And that means you can challenge them, you can question them, you can tell that voice, I hear you, but I'm not listening today. That's power. That's how you start taking back control. Think about the people who do incredible things, the ultra marathoners, the entrepreneurs, the elite performers. Do you think they don't hear that same voice? They do. But they've trained themselves not to obey it. They hear the fear, the doubt, the fatigue, and they choose action anyway. They understand that the voice in their head isn't there to help them grow. It's there to keep them alive. And if you want to go beyond basic survival and step into greatness, you have to override that voice. This doesn't mean ignoring your body when it's genuinely in danger. This isn't about recklessness. It's about knowing the difference between discomfort and danger. Most of the time, when your mind is telling you to stop, it's not because you're in real harm. It's because you're on the edge of growth. That edge is where transformation happens. And your mind will do everything it can to keep you from getting there. You got to outthink your own brain. You got to treat that voice like an opponent in the ring. When it tells you you're done, prove it wrong. When it tells you you can't, go further. You got to show your mind that you're the one in charge now. That your limits are not set by fear, but by discipline, by resilience, by willpower. The only way to do that is through repetition. You have to challenge that voice daily. Whether it's choosing the hard workout, making the tough phone call, grinding on the days when no one's watching, you train yourself to stop listening to the lies and start acting based on your values, your goals, your mission. Every time you push back against the mental resistance, you get a little stronger, a little sharper, a little more in control. And over time, the voice doesn't go away, but it gets quieter. It loses power because it realizes it can't move you anymore. And that's when you become dangerous. When your actions are no longer dictated by fear or weakness, but by conviction. So understand this. Your mind will lie to you, but you don't have to believe it. You can rise above it. You can prove it wrong over and over again until your identity becomes one of power, not passivity. One of strength, not surrender. The mind is a battlefield. Win the war in your head and the rest of the world doesn't stand a chance. Discipline doesn't show up out of nowhere. You don't wake up one day magically locked in, focused, and mentally tough. That version of you, the one who gets things done no matter what, who doesn't fold under pressure, who stays locked in, is built slowly, relentlessly. And it all starts with the small things, the unglamorous things, the things nobody sees. Discipline isn't about big moments. It's about daily mental habits. You want to control your life? Start by controlling your day. What you do each morning, how you speak to yourself when no one's around, the decisions you make when the cameras are off. That's where discipline is either built or broken. Most people think habits are just actions, brushing your teeth, going for a run, drinking water. But the most powerful habits aren't physical, they're mental. They're how you think, how you respond, how you carry yourself in the silence. Your day is made up of thousands of micro decisions. Wake up or snooze, water or sugar, show up or excuse. These decisions are small in the moment, but they're casting votes for the kind of person you're becoming. Every time you choose discipline, even in something that seems meaningless, you're reinforcing an identity. You're telling your mind, this is who I am now. And the brain listens. Here's where people go wrong. They wait until it feels right. They wait until they're motivated. They wait until everything around them is in perfect alignment. But that's a fantasy. You're not always going to feel like doing the right thing. That's why mental habits matter, because when your emotions fail you, and they will, your habits keep you moving. Discipline kicks in when feelings shut down. It starts the moment you open your eyes. Do you take control of your morning, or does your phone tell you how the day starts? Do you begin with clarity or with chaos? Something as simple as making your bed, drinking water, writing your top priorities. These aren't trivial. They're signals. They're saying, I own this day. I set the tone. And when you start your day with purpose, you're less likely to be thrown off by distractions later. But it's not just the morning, it's your whole rhythm. What do you do when things get hard? That's where your mental habits really show up. Do you panic or pause? Do you react emotionally or do you breathe and think? Training your mind means practicing calm under pressure, just like an athlete trains under game condition. It means controlling your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts control you. Another key mental habit, the way you talk to yourself. Most people are walking around with a critic in their head, constantly tearing them down, pointing out flaws, replaying failures. That voice becomes their reality. But when you build discipline, you change that inner voice. You turn it into a coach, not a critic. When you slip up, it doesn't say you're weak. It says you're better than this. Get back up. And this isn't about lying to yourself. It's about programming your mind with thoughts that build you, not break you. That takes repetition, daily effort, catching the negative thought, replacing it with truth, not fake positivity, real, grounded accountability. I didn't do what I said I'd do. That's on me. And I'll fix it. That kind of internal dialogue is powerful. It builds integrity. It builds trust. You also need structure. Mental discipline thrives in systems. Know what you're doing and when you're doing it. Eliminate the mental fatigue of constant decision making. When your day has structure, your mind has space to focus. If every hour is a guess, you waste energy just trying to stay on track. But when your priorities are clear, when your tasks are scheduled, your brain can shift from reacting to executing. This isn't glamorous. No one's handing out awards for journaling at 5 a.m. or skipping social media to focus on your goals, but these are the moments that shape you. Because habits don't just create results, they create identity. When you do hard things consistently, you stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to be disciplined and start seeing yourself as someone who is. That shift is massive. And let's be honest, you're not always going to feel it. There will be days when your mind tries to talk you out of everything. Days when everything feels pointless. That's exactly why you need habits. Because they don't care how you feel. They don't need permission. They just get done. And when the work gets done, even on the worst days, you win. So build them. One by one, stack them slowly. Make them so ingrained that when life gets chaotic, your discipline stays steady. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. The small choices compound over weeks, over months, and one day you'll look up and realize you're not even the same person anymore. Not because of some massive transformation overnight, but because you showed up for yourself daily when it was hard. Because you built a mind that doesn't need hype, just habit. Every day the world is throwing distractions at you nonstop all day long. Notifications, emails, drama, noise. People want your attention. Apps are designed to hijack your time. And if you're not ruthless about protecting your focus, you'll waste your whole life reacting instead of building. You can't afford to be casual about this, not if you want to do something great. Not if you're serious about becoming disciplined. You have to make a decision. Is your time going to be controlled by the outside world? Or are you going to control it? Because here's the truth, what you feed grows and what you starve dies. If you feed distraction, you'll become scattered, inconsistent, and weak. But if you feed your focus, you become dangerous. You move with clarity. You get more done in 2 hours than most people do in 2 days. That's not talent. That's not luck. That's discipline. It's about training your mind to lock in and stay locked in, no matter what's going on around you. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things. It's about doing the right things consistently without being pulled in 100 directions. People love to stay busy, but busy doesn't mean effective. Anyone can fill up a to-do list. Anyone can stay grinding all day and still get nowhere. Focus is what separates progress from pointless motion. You want results. You need deep, undistracted work. You need to learn how to shut the world out and dial in. That means making hard decisions, saying no more often, setting no more often, setting boundaries, being intentional about your time. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every text needs a reply. Not every notification needs to be checked. You've got to become brutally selective. Because every minute you give away to distraction is a minute stolen from your purpose. And if you give away enough of those minutes, you lose the war. You've only got so much mental energy. Think of it like a battery. Every time you switch tasks, every time you open another app, check another feed, scroll on another post, you're draining it. That might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but over time it adds up. Your focus gets thinner. Your thoughts get louder. Your decisions get weaker. And slowly you slip into a fog of mediocrity where you're doing a lot but becoming less. The solution, ruthless focus. You have to train it like a muscle. Start small. Pick one task, one goal, one commitment. Block out everything else and pour yourself into that one thing. Not for 5 minutes, not halfway. Go all in, stay in the pocket. Fight through the resistance. At first, your mind will wander. It'll crave stimulation. You'll want to check your phone, jump to the next thing. No, that's the addiction talking the pull of instant gratification. Ignore it. This is how you rewire your brain. Because focus is a skill. It's not something you're born with. It's something you earn. You earn it by showing your brain day after day that not every impulse deserves a reaction. That not every distraction gets to win. Eventually, the noise fades. Your attention sharpens. you start hitting deeper levels of clarity, flow, creativity. And that's when you start separating from the pack. Most people can't focus for more than a few minutes without needing a dopamine hit. That's your advantage. In a world addicted to distraction, focus is a superpower. The person who can sit in silence, do deep work, resist the scroll, ignore the noise, that person wins every time. And it's not just about productivity, it's about peace. Distraction creates anxiety. Constant stimulation makes your nervous system stay on edge. Your brain never gets a break. That's why so many people feel overwhelmed, burned out, fried. They've never trained themselves to be still, to focus, to breathe. When you learn to control your focus, you also learn to control your nervous system. You slow your heart rate. You think clearer. You move with purpose. That's power. This isn't about perfection. You're going to slip up. You're going to waste time sometimes. The key is to notice it, adjust, and come back sharper. Don't let one distraction turn into a distracted day. Catch it. Cut it. Get back on track. That ability to redirect yourself quickly, that's part of being disciplined too. So feed your focus. Pour into it. Build your environment around it. Turn off the noise. Remove temptation. Organize your space so that it works for you, not against you. And most importantly, know what matters. What's the goal? What's the mission? If you don't know what you're aiming at, you'll aim at everything. But once you have a clear target, your focus becomes lethal. This world isn't going to slow down. The distractions are only getting louder. But if you can master your attention, you can master your life. That's what separates the disciplined from the distracted. That's what builds results. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters and doing it everything you've got. Pain is coming either way. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Life doesn't give you a pass. You either choose your suffering now on your terms through discipline, hard work, and sacrifice, or you get hit with it later through regret, failure, and the weight of what could have been. There's no skipping it. The question isn't if you'll suffer, it's when, how, and why. You want comfort now? You'll pay for it later. You want ease, convenience, shortcuts? The bill comes due. Every skipped workout, every wasted hour, every time you hit snooze, it all adds up. It doesn't show up immediately. That's the trap. It's slow, quiet, forgiving at first. But one day you look around and realize you're stuck in a life you didn't choose. You're weaker than you should be. You're unfulfilled. You're frustrated. And deep down, you know it didn't have to be this way. Regret is the heaviest form of suffering. It doesn't just hurt your poor body, it eats your soul. And the worst part, you know it was preventable. You know you had a choice. But you didn't pay the price when it was due. You postponed the pain. You chose temporary relief instead of long-term growth. And now you're left with the consequences. But there's another way. You can flip the script. You can choose to suffer now, not because you hate yourself, but because you respect yourself. Because you know the version of you that you're chasing requires it. You know greatness has a cost and you're willing to pay it. That's the core of real discipline. It's not about punishing yourself, it's about preparing yourself. It's about facing the pain now so you can stand tall later. You lace up your shoes and run when it's raining, when it's cold, when you don't want it, because comfort doesn't build strength. You get up early, even when you're tired, because chasing your goals matters more than chasing extra sleep. You eat clean, you study, you push, you endure because you're playing a longer game. You're not living for the moment, you're living for the mission. That's what most people don't get. Discipline looks like pain on the outside, but it creates peace on the inside. When you suffer with intention, you build a life you don't have to escape from. You create a body you're proud of, a mind that's sharp, a reputation that's solid. You earn your own respect. You walk through life knowing you've got what it takes, not because someone told you, but because you've proven it to yourself in the dark again and again. And when life throws real pain at you because of where you're ready, you've trained for it. The suffering you chose gave you armor. The hard days you created made you unshakable. While everyone else is panicking, crumbling, complaining, you're calm, focused, steady. That's the payoff. That's why you embrace the discomfort now so you can dominate the chaos later. But let's be clear, choosing to suffer now doesn't mean being reckless. It means being intentional, smart, calculated. You pick your pain with purpose. You train not to destroy yourself, but to develop yourself. You build your resilience in layers. You become someone who can handle adversity, not avoid it. There's a different kind of confidence that comes from this. Not arrogance, not ego, but real earned self-belief. You don't need to fake it. You know what you've done. You know what you've overcome. And that knowledge stays with you. It's in your walk, your tone, your choices. You carry yourself different when you've suffered for something greater than yourself. So stop running from hard things. Stop looking for the easy route. That route leads nowhere worth going. Start leaning into the resistance. Start seeing pain as part of the process. Embrace the sweat, the grind, the setbacks, the lonely moments, all of it. That's the price of building something real. And the more you pay up front, the less you owe later. Discipline isn't about being the best today. It's about making sure you're still standing 10 years from now. It's about building a life that doesn't collapse the first time it gets hard. Every time you choose discomfort now, you're investing in that future. You're stacking wins that no one can take from you. You're earning freedom. So suffer now. Suffer with purpose. Don't waste time looking for ways around the fire. Walk straight through it. Because the fire doesn't just burn, it forges. And when the rest of the world is breaking down, you'll still be standing solid and unshaken, built by every choice you made when no one was watching. That's the kind of strength the world can't give you. And it can't take away. That's what it means to be disciplined. Everyone wants the result, the glory, the transformation, the success story at the finish line. But nobody talks about the middle, the long, silent grind where nothing feels exciting and everything feels repetitive. That's where most people give up. Not because it's too hard, but because it's too boring. They don't quit because they can't do it. They quit because they're not entertained. But if you want real discipline, if you want uncommon strength, you have to learn to embrace the boredom. Discipline isn't built in highlight moments. It's built in the mundane, the day after day of showing up, doing the same thing, putting in reps. Even when your mind screams for variety, for novelty, for something easier or more fun. That's the trap. We're addicted to stimulation. We want a dopamine hit with every step we take. But the work that actually changes you, it's slow. It's unsexy. It's brutally repetitive. And that's exactly why it works. Anyone can go hard for a day. Anyone can get motivated and lock in for a week. But can you do the same thing over and over without applause, without a pat on the back, without visible progress for months? That's the difference. That's where champions are built. In the boredom, in the silence, in the discipline of doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Your goals don't care how entertained you are. Your body doesn't care if the workout is exciting. Your future doesn't care if today felt inspiring. It only cares whether or not you did the work. Most people will never get what they want because they're constantly chasing stimulation over consistency. They trade focus for comfort, progress for entertainment. But the truth is, if it's always fun, you're probably not growing. If it's always exciting, you're probably not pushing deep enough. You need to make peace with the process. Stop expecting it to feel good. Stop waiting for hype. Start building a mind that shows up anyway. That gets the reps in even when it's boring. Because repetition isn't the enemy, it's the foundation. You think about mastery in anything, sports, music, writing, business. What do the best have in common? They've done the basics so many times with such brutal consistency that it's second nature. That's not talent. That's tolerance for boredom. And the way to develop that tolerance is simple. Stop running from it. Sit with it. Train your brain to stop needing newness to stay engaged. You don't need a new plan. You need a better relationship with the old one. You need to look boredom in the face and say, I'm not going anywhere. That's real power when your mind is screaming for a break and you stay locked in. This is where discipline becomes identity. The more you repeat the same high standard actions, even when it's dull, the more you become someone who doesn't need motivation. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop questioning your habits. You just execute. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are now. That mindset doesn't come naturally. It's forged. You earn it by choosing the grind again and again. You earn it every time you resist the urge to switch past, to spice it up, to quit halfway through because it got too quiet. You have to kill that need for constant stimulation if you want to reach another level. You have to learn how to make boredom your ally, not your enemy. There's power in repetition. In doing the same thing with excellence again and again. While others are chasing shiny new strategies, you're locking in on the fundamentals. While others are losing focus, you're sharpening yours. While others are restarting every few weeks, you're stacking months of consistent work. That's how separation happens slowly, silently in the boring hours. You start to realize something too. Boredom isn't a problem, it's a signal. It means you've entered the zone where most people check out. If you stay in it, you're gaining ground while they lose it. You're doing the real work while they chase distractions. That's how you win. Quietly. Relentlessly. Boredom becomes your edge. So next time you feel the urge to switch gears, to quit early, to start something new just because you're bored, pause. Ask yourself, is this actually not working, or am I just addicted to excitement? Am I actually off track, or am I just uncomfortable with repetition? Most of the time you'll find the work is working, you just haven't stuck with it long enough to see the result. This is the battle you face daily, not with pain, but with dullness, not with obstacles, but with silence. Can you keep going when there's no applause? Can you trust the process when it stops feeling exciting? If the answer is yes, you've already won, because you're doing what 99% of people can't. You're embracing what they avoid. You're mastering what they abandon. One of the greatest challenges in life is mastering the art of delayed gratification. It's the ability to put in the work now without immediate reward, knowing that the payoff will come later. It's resisting the urge for instant pleasure, the easy fix, and instead choosing the long road, the path and discipline. It's the difference between living in the moment and living with a purpose that's greater than the moment. In a world that thrives on instant access, instant food, instant entertainment, instant validation, learning how to delay gratification might just be the most important skill you can develop. Everyone wants results and they want them now. That's the culture we live in. The faster the better. The quicker the fix. The sooner the satisfaction. But here's the problem: anything worth having takes time. Success doesn't happen overnight. Fitness isn't built in a few weeks. Skills aren't developed in a few days. Growth takes time, patience, and consistent effort. The question is, are you willing to pay the price today for a reward you may not see for months or even years? Delayed gratification is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the winners from the losers. It's the ability to say no to short-term pleasures, no to distractions, no to comfort, because you have a bigger vision. You understand that today's sacrifices will yield tomorrow's rewards. It's easy to choose pleasure now, but the wise person knows that real success is built through sacrifice. It's not about denying yourself joy, it's about understanding the power of focusing on the bigger picture. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. It's easy to feel like you're missing out when everyone else seems to be living in the moment. It's tempting to fall into the trap of immediate gratification, to indulge, to give in to the instant rewards. But every time you give in, you take a step back from where you want to be. Every time you make a choice based on short-term pleasure, you lose ground on your long-term goals. It's a constant battle between what you want now and what you want most. Think about the person who spends money. They don't have to buy things they don't need just to feel good in the moment. And I think about the person who skips their workout to relax, to take a break, to binge watch Netflix, when deep down, they know they should be pushing themselves. They're choosing temporary satisfaction over the future version of themselves. They're trading the long-term benefit for something fleeting, and in the process, they lose momentum, they lose focus, they lose time.